Hey there. Today we're going to be reviewing chapters 1 and 2 of Business Communications, including Communication for Success and Interpersonal Communication. To start this off, we need to define communication. Communication is the process of sharing a message with one or more other people. In this process, there are senders, which are people who transmit messages, and there are also receivers, which are people to whom the message is sent. This message is information that has a meaning which is shared with others. People use words, gestures, and facial expressions to transmit this message. Feedback is a response to the sender that indicates how the message has been received or understood. Receivers can convey the feelings through direct feedback, such as words or gestures, or through continuous feedback by appearing attentive or bored, for example. Context is a situation in which a message is shared. This includes yourself, who you are communicating with, the purpose of your communication, and what you wish to accomplish through this communication. A communication channel is simply defined as a medium of communication. This may be anything from a personal conversation with a friend or your family to a business email or a blog. Noise is any distraction that may interfere with the sharing of a message. Many people think of noise as only sound. However, it may also include sights, feelings, or even thoughts. Intrapersonal communication is the mental interaction that takes place when a person talks with him or herself, either consciously or subconsciously. Interpersonal communication is a formal or informal interaction between two people who have an identifiable relationship with each other. Small group communication is communication that involves 3 to 20 people who come together for a specific purpose. This may include a group of friends or a team working on a project. Public communication is communication in which one participant or speaker delivers a prepared message to an audience of more than 20 people. Ethics are the moral principles held by a society, group, or individual sharing the message. While each person has their own set of ethics, there are general standards that are set by society that you need to follow. An ethical dilemma is a choice between 2 imperfect options. This is more commonly referred to as a lose-lose situation. Communication competence is the impression that a person communicates appropriately and effectively in a given situation. Communication apprehension is the fear or anxiety associated with real or anticipated communication with other people. Miscommunication is defined as the failure to communicate clearly. The reasons for these miscommunications stem from the differences in language and meaning in communication. Perception is the process of paying attention and assigning meaning to information. You do this every day whether you know it or not. The definition of interpretation means to give meaning to. This is important when talking about the idea of perception, to know how to give meaning to what was perceived. A pattern is a set of characteristics that sets apart some things from others. This makes it much easier to see men and women in groups rather than individual people in those groups. Self-discovery is the process by which a person forms and maintains his or her self-identity or self-concept. Self-concept is who a person thinks he or she really is. This is strongly influenced by others' reactions and responses to what they say or do. Ideal self-concept is a person's idea of who he or she wants to become. Some common traits of this may include kindness, bravery, or toughness. Self-esteem is a person's positive or negative view of his or her current self-concept. This depends on the value a person places on what he or she does well or poorly. A self-fulfilling prophecy is a false perception about a situation, characteristic, or skill that leads to behaviors that perpetuate that false perception as being true. Self-talk is the internal conversations people have with themselves. People that have low self-esteem tend to stress negative self-talk or overinflate their sense of self-worth. Self-disclosure is the process of presenting oneself to others. People present a variety of selves by self-monitoring and self-construction. Self-monitoring is an internal process in which people keep track of what they are saying and doing and how they think that others will perceive what they are saying and doing. Roles are patterns of learned behaviors that a person uses to meet the perceived demands of a specific setting. Uncertainty reduction is the process of monitoring the social environment to learn more about oneself and others around you. The halo effect is giving somebody an entire set of characteristics based on the observation of only one characteristic, trait, or behavior. Stereotype is a generalization used to describe a group that may be exaggerated or offensive. This is another factor that influences people's perceptions of specific groups or people. Prejudice is an irrational, often hostile attitude toward a person or group. Unfortunately, this is often a product of stereotyping. Discrimination is defined as unfair treatment of a person or group based off of prejudice. Stereotypes, prejudice, and discrimination all have basis in information that is not proven to be true. A perception check is a message that shows a person's understanding of the meaning of another person's nonverbal behaviors. In these chapters, we covered the elements of communication, ethics, competence, perception, self-discovery, self-concept, self-esteem, and self-disclosure.